Good evening and welcome. Welcome to my live stream. Here we are tonight to fight CPS and stop taking our children. I'm your host, Bob Pace. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've helped raise six children. I have 42 years of marriage. I'm not a lawyer, but I've had a long experience with CPS. I've been fighting them since 2010. Unfortunately, I lost my forever home. And at first, I lost my job, really. I had a beautiful job. I had actually, in my later years of life, switched companies because I wanted to better help my family. And I thought the goal was money. And I'm telling you right now, money does not buy happiness. Now, my lifestyle had always been the beach and surfing and so forth. My present family doesn't really know my life, you know, in my early years, for my teen years, my 20s and 30s and 40s, they never saw that life. But I lived a simple life. I love the sea. I love to sail and dive and surf and travel the world. And I was just as happy out of a bag. Material things weren't important to me. I'd scraped enough money to buy an old Mustang. And I was living very happily in that kind of lifestyle. But I also wanted a family. And I met my first wife, and I thought it was a special time. And we were married 10 years, but unfortunately, people change. She was 20 at the time, she had changed to 30, and women do change. Forewarned, it's another life skill. Women are not the same at 20 as they are at 30. Now, my second wife, I met when she was 28, and I was on a rebound for my first marriage. Now, I had a first child in my first marriage. I've not seen her since she was 3. My first wife was so vindictive. She said, "You never see your child again," and she's kept her promise. That child now is 36 years old. But my second wife, who had a child with no father, I've known that child since 59. She's 39 now, and she was 5 at the time. And we celebrated her 6th birthday at Disneyland. And she thought that was cool. She thought that Disneyland was great. And I ended up having season passes for the three of us for a long time. And then my new wife and I created 3 beautiful children out of love. And we raised them. And we tried to instill values. We tried to do fun things with them as they grew up. We were very active in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and AYSO soccer. We took numerous trips. I remember taking my son to Brazil. He was only 1 year old. He won't remember it. He was on my back in a parade in Porto de Glinas. And it was, world championships. And we went to Hawaii. He will remember me backpacking the Nepali coast where I took 5 or 6 miles with my young daughter toting there, my wife slipping in the mud and everything, but having fun in Hawaii. That was one of my favorite places. And I had owned land in Kauai. I had planned on building my dream home and retiring in Kauai when I was in my 50s. But, we don't plan the way life is. Life is very interesting. And I want to welcome Kenneth Rafford. Hey, hey, hey. And you keep missing me, Kenneth. Well, I'm glad you're here, Kenneth. If you could tell me, let me put down the format we use for texts and messages. I'll put it up on the screen. I don't need to read it to you. You can read it. But I'd love to have questions from you. Now, this live stream is broadcast around the world, everywhere there's internet. And I'm starting out a little bit to talk about my background and who I am. A lot of you ask me, who is Bob Pace? I have a big heart. I care about people, always have. And that's why I do this show, because I know what you're going through. Unfortunately, this happened to me in 2010. The first 5 years, from 2010 to 2015, I was being harassed by the child protection system. I did not know about the complaints, where they're coming from. But my wife and I had complaints all the time about we weren't taking care of our children. They weren't going to school. We weren't bathing them. We had no food in the house. We didn't pay the utility bills and so forth. It went on and on and on. And unfortunately, these lay people, who I did find out later, were my in laws, my wife's mother, father, three sisters, and a brother. From Ohio, they had called California. And every week there'd be a new accusation, and CPS would come out. I showed them my house back then. But I also had my own parents that were dying at that time in 2014 and 15. And they wanted me to take their belongings and give them to family, friends, or relatives. They had 55 years of marriage, and they had a lot of belongings. They had a big house, a 3,000 square foot in Santa Barbara, beautiful home. But my young sister, my kid sister, wanted the house to be sold. I envisioned us renting it out, or even myself taking that house when I lost my job, because I could rent it. And then we could use the money that's rent to take care of the repairs, and it'd be investment property. The day that house sold, it went up over $100,000. It's sad. That house is now worth $3 million, and it would have been a great asset to have. If any of you are listening, one of the life skills: own property. Own property. I told my wife's brother to buy. He was renting all the time, renting and leasing and whatever, and it goes away. You can't use that money to lower your taxes, to write it off. The government pays for your home. The government pays for your home. And when you have children, they help you too lower your taxes, because there's tax credits, because it's hard to take care of children. Each child, they give you a credit, but not as much as it costs to raise that child. There's all kinds of expenses that you have to pay for. It was costing me over $10,000 a month minimum in costs at my latest home. I had mortgage payments, interest, my credit line, and my taxes. It was $5,000 just alone. Half of my expenses were in my home. Beautiful home, 1 mile close to the beach, near a big park, a dog park, another park. It's a beautiful home, but unfortunately, I blew it, and I'm in a rut now. Ever since I lost my home, my forever home, I had to sell it, a quick sell, to get money to hire an attorney to get me out of this niche. My young son has now lately been asking me or blaming me. He says, "Dad, why did you put me in social services?" I said, "I didn't." It's a combination of errors. And one of the hardest things you guys are going to find out is when you have domestic squabbles or you have problem with each other, it hurts the children. The children don't need to hear arguments. The children don't need to hear their parents they love so much. And also, families should help, never needle, never things. It seems like day one for my wedding, my wife's family never cared about coming to our wedding. Her sister lived out here in California, never decided to come. We went to her sister's wedding. We always were very good to her family. We would take them out to expensive dinner places and everything else. When they come to see us, we treated them like they're one of the family. But unfortunately, they never were caring about us family. And it's sad because there's a lot of stories to this that you have to look at. But I now, I am a dinosaur, and it's very hard struggling. I had found a job I thought I was going to get. But the guy said, "Why do you want to work for us? You're making 3 or 4 times more, and you were using us as a subcontractor. Why would you want to work for us?" I said, "I need a steady job with a steady paycheck. Right now, I'm working for Bangladesh wages. I'm lucky if I get paid for work I did a month ago. I have to sit there and beg on my hands and knees to be paid Bangladesh wages." It is really sad, and it's really hard. But I'm here because I want to help you not make the same mistakes. I have 5 rules that I've come up with, and I want to help you all. I want to help you all. Now, this room is lots of people come in here on a regular basis. I have lots of friends. I have a sweet lady from South Africa that comes on, Leica, who had a terrible relationship with her boyfriend, who ended up being a pedophile and abusing her child. Her marriage didn't work out. That was a failure. But all of you have come to me about your questions. I had this morning a couple from Utah, or I said not a couple, but a lady, a nice lady, Chelsea, who now said, "Thanks to you, my case is over. I got my kids back." She had met me in December. I started this in October of 23, and she's been listening to me for years. And she said, "What you say, Bob, makes sense. Most of you have something in common with me. You're low income. I never was low income. Money was not ever important in my life, but somehow I thought money equated a family. You know, working as a marine biologist, training killer whales or diving or doing what it is in the ocean is a fun job. It's a great job. And unfortunately, it doesn't pay the bills. When I was working as a marine biologist, I was lucky if I got $4 an hour. And it was a great job because I could surf, I could dive, I could sail, I could do all kinds of things. And I was important. I was a scientist. I worked on the vessel Valero, 110-foot purse seiner. And I did research work from Northern California to the Mexican border. And I've done environmental impact studies, like at the Hyperion treatment plant in Los Angeles, the 5 Mile outfall, or the San Onofre nuclear generator station, which is no longer anymore. But they built a 3 nuclear silos in there to run power. But they found that nuclear energy is too dangerous, too risky, and they were shut down. But I did all the environmental studies of thermal pollution. So I have a lot of wealth of information. Now, the job I did get is a civil engineer, building roads and highways. And I was a good salesman. I'm one of the top salesmen in Southern California. But unfortunately, this company that I used as a sub didn't want to hire me because I was overqualified and they thought I wouldn't take a cut in salary, which I would have. I just want steady income. When I work a week, I want to be paid the next week. That's how bills are paid. People have budgets, and you have to budget your money spread over a period of time when you get paid. For instance, if you have a bill that comes once a year, like vehicle registration, you need to divide that by 12 months and put aside that 12-month bill amount in a special account. You should have two accounts, your savings account and your checking account. Now, these are life skills that I'm sharing with you. A lot of people don't know that. They think having one account, all the money goes in, all the money goes out. And you should also never buy things on credit. I never bought, I think the car was the first thing I ever bought in 69. The thing. And it was what? A 2-year loan. I paid it off in 6 months. I paid off the car. It was a used car. It was not brand new. I wanted a Corvette, but in 1968, Corvettes were running $7,000. Now they're over $150,000 to get a Corvette that I want, a Stingray. I've always wanted that. Instead, I got an RX-7, but that was still expensive. That was over $20,000, second generation. I still have it. It's over 30 years old. It's from '87. But life is hard. Life is really hard. And so you all are facing the fact, the challenge that your family's being broken apart because of domestic violence, because maybe a drug problem, or because maybe you don't know how to take care of children. You don't know how to feed them or clothe them. A lot of people, you're not born with a manual when you're born. You're born without a manual. It isn't like when you buy a car and you go out and buy a shop manual to learn how every bell and whistle works. You know, I when I got my Mustang, the first thing I did is that I said I want to know how to repair it, and they said you can buy a shop manual. I said, what is a shop manual? So I bought a off-brand shop manual, and it was terrible. It's not where I learned it, and that wasn't my first car, by the way, because my first car was a used Corvair, a '62 white Corvair with seats that fell out of the floor when I was running around down to the beach in Ocean City, Maryland, and he looked like Fred Flintstone and Fred Flintstone and his part Barney with their feet dragging on the ground. It was really embarrassing. We had the surfboard on top of the car. I was the only one that surfed. I was an inland surfer, and we are going to spend a week at the beach, and everybody ganged up in it. But the weight and everything, it just crumbled because why? In the roads on the East Coast, they use salt to keep the snow off the road. Well, the salt coats underneath. And if you don't have it washed off and you don't have extra protection, the flooring, it'll rot out. And I was sold a lemon. I was sold a lemon. And the guy that sold me was the orderly Marine outside my dad's stateroom aboard one of his ships that he commanded. And I learned the hard way with that first car. I remember it had dual carburetors. It was hard to work on, but I learned a lot. I remember one night my grandmother coming out, my dear grandmother, and she said, "You're out here working at 2 o'clock in the morning." I said, "No, I need to get this car ready to take the boys to Ocean City, Maryland." And so I was working on it. And so I learned a lot from that car. My next car was the Mustang, and then it was the RX-7. So it was really life is full of places that you just really don't know what you're running to. And one of them is CPS. The Child Protection System is what I call it. It's a government entity that was founded in 1962. And it was mandated by Congress that social services would create a group of social workers to protect our children from neglect or abuse. Protect our children from neglect or abuse. And I did not know about that. I did not know that until I was 60 years old. I never knew what CPS was. I knew what the IRS was, about doing taxes. I knew what the president did, and the vice president, and the treasury, and the judicial, but I did not know about a government agency like social services or that. You need to know there are things that will help you. There's nothing embarrassing if you qualify for needs for social services. Social service will provide you food, clothing, shelter, education, medical, and even a job. They even get you a job. So that's another life skill. And that can help your family. You are really loving families. And I think families is really great. My older son is ready to get married. He's got a fiance. And he's doing all this at the age of 25. I didn't do it for another 8 more years. Um, and I guess he found the right girl, which is great. I thought I did too. We all think we find the right partner. And some of you may have problems with your husband or your wife, and you alienate each other. And that is tough. That is tough. Now, I'm here to help you, but you got to help yourselves by telling me what you want to talk about. I have 5 rules that you can talk about. Um, I have topics about ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. I can talk about a 388 motion that you can file in court. They have a judge within 30 days hear your case. There's all kinds of topics we can talk about. I have an attorney, Vincent W. Davis, whose picture is the right-hand corner, who you can hire, who is an expert in the areas of juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Those are the 3 areas of law that you got to be in. Those are the 3 areas of law you got to be in. Now, I just put up another message of how to be a guest. It's right there. Now, I'm on every night of the week at 7 p.m. And um, Kenneth, are you going to call in from another person from North Carolina? Hi, Kenneth Radford. I need you to put in touch with um, Dorothy Cook from North Carolina. She's really helpful. She'll be in tonight. She'll be in there. And so anyway, send me an email if you want to be a guest. Pick one of my shows. As I say, I'm on at night, 7 p.m. That's the West Coast time. I'm on the weekdays from 10 a.m. in the morning, Monday through Friday, and on the weekends at 8 a.m. I'll be on at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's Pacific Standard Time. So just send one of my 14 shows. Just tell my show producer, Grace, I want to be on Bob's morning show on Saturday or Bob's Friday night show or Wednesday or whatever. 7 day, it's 14 live streams. And she'll give you the rules of what you can do and not do. But I do want to put my phone number up because I think Bruce would like to talk. Now, Bruce, you can call me right now. Kenneth, I don't know why I was calling you Bruce. There's another Bruce that I met from North Carolina. Kenneth, Kenneth, if you want to call in, there's my number, 626-698-0990. You're welcome to call in. You're welcome to call in. Mm. Anyway, um, Kenny, I'd love to hear from you. I love to answer your questions and your concerns. Now, people will come and go in this room. You're free to come and free to go. But I'd like to help you. In order to be helped, you have to ask. Now, I started the show different as I always try to every show. I try to make it different. They are recorded so you can hear me later. So if you miss anything, you can hear it again. Now, I have a number that you can call me live, 626-698-0990. And you're welcome to talk on the phone about your case. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you talk on my phone or you're a guest on my show, you get a free 15-minute private Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. You get a real attorney that normally charges $500 an hour. Now, that is not a high end attorney. Attorneys run from $200 to $1,000 an hour. It all depends on the case, the complexity, and how long the case has been going on. Not so much the salary, but the retainer. Now, Vincent will do a retainer for LA County, which is where he lives and works in California, for $5,000. And that's for a CPS case. But it also, he has to look at how long the case has been going on and the complexity of the case. Now, retainer is nothing more than putting money up so you have something to work with. Now, a lot of you probably don't know about this life skill. You should get legal insurance. So many people forget to get legal insurance. They forget legal insurance. They really do. And legal insurance is something that will help you with any kind of a criminal case. If you're a parent and your children get caught with alcohol in a DUI, then that would help you. It will pay for your attorney fees. If you get evicted, that will help you with legal fees. Maybe there's a injury in a car accident, that will help you with legal fees. I'm trying to tell you, right now, most of us don't have $5,000 or $50,000 to hire a CPS attorney that will fight for us and get our children back. So many of you are sacrificed in losing your children. And that is sad because a lot of you are good parents. I find that if you're in my room, you are definitely a good parent. You're definitely a good parent. So, anyway, I'm here to help you. In order to be helped, you have to ask. I'm very knowledgeable about life skills, not only about how to get insurance or maybe how to do a savings account or put some money away for that yearly bill. A lot of us forget that some bills are yearly, some are 6 months, some are monthly. What you need to do, if your income is once a week, you need to divide all the bills up and make sure you have the money when that bill's due. That is one of the hardest things for everybody to do is how to balance the budget, how to pay your bills. You have to have a steady job, of course, and where you live is very important. I know that in Mississippi or Arkansas, I can live a lot cheaper than I do living at the beach in California. But I was faced with it. I was born in California. California has been my home for all my life, but I have lived in other places. I lived in Japan, Guam, the Philippines. I almost lived in Hawaii, but I've been there enough times I could have. And I've been to some exotic places. I've been to Fiji, South Africa, France. I've been to Norway. Um, I've been to Holland and South America. I've been to Peru and Argentina and Brazil. And I've been to Venezuela and then Costa Rica and Mexico. I've been to the Barbados in the Caribbean and Puerto Rico. And I've been all over the East Coast, Florida, all the way down up to North Carolina, Cape Hatteras, up to Virginia Beach, Virginia, to Ocean City, Maryland, to Fenwick Island, to Long Island, New York, up to Rhode Island, as far north as Rhode Island. I've been up to Maine, but never surfed up in Maine. I've surfed in Rhode Island, in New York, in New Jersey, in Virginia, in North Carolina, in Florida. I've surfed in the Gulf down in Texas. Hold on. Now, I'm hoping that regular people will be in here, but I've had an interesting life. But nothing is more interesting as fighting with CPS. It's sad when your children are put into that kind of situation. No communication with the parents. And when you do see your children, you can't talk about the case. And that is the worst thing to know. Your children want to know what you're doing. And they should be telling your children. They should say the parents want to do family reunification. They want to correct their problems. They want to work with the children. Nothing ever, the children and the family never met together. It should be where the children and the parents meet together with professional help to work out their differences or the problems. Their differences are their problems. There's no such thing as bad parents and bad children. There are definitely bad choices that people made. Bad choices. Now, Kenneth, I left my number up there. I was hoping you would call me and share me your story from North Carolina or anybody else. The number's up there. I don't bite. I love to help you. Now, these 5 rules that I come up with is one, you need to get a real attorney. And I don't mean a court appointed attorney or a public defender. I mean a real attorney that's trained in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. You have to document everything. It's so important that you document everything. You should have a way to keep all your documents organized. Make notebooks, get them as thick as you can. Get dividers, organize your material so you can find things quick. Because your documents will be used not only to fight them, but also to do a lawsuit and a civil lawsuit against them. And one of the forms, one of the most important forms, is called the incident form. It's a timeline of events that happened to you. And you won't remember everything. You won't remember everything. So, with that being said, I really want to encourage you that you have these documents to fight because on the instant form, you use 3 lines of notebook paper. Skip a couple lines, next instant. Skip a couple lines, next instant. On the first line, you put the phone number or the place that the incident happened at. You put the name of the people you talked to, the date and time. The second line is a summary of what the incident is about. The third line is the outcome of the incident. You may not know it, skip it, and come back to it later. But in 6 months' time, you should have a lot of incidents. And these are incidents with the police, incidents with social services, incidents with the school, incidents with a doctor, you have social workers, all these incidents. You may have hundreds and hundreds of incidents by the time 6 months rolls along. And that way, it's almost like a journal. That's the second important document. You should have a journal written to your family members. You should say, "Dear family, I'm writing here to tell you my feelings. I may not be around here in the end, or maybe something will happen. I don't know. But family, I love you." And you write this journal. I don't know if any of you watched an old medical show called Doogie Howser, MD. It was a child, a teenager that became a doctor. And he had a computer, and he would write his journal on his computer. Every night, at the end of the night, he would write a paragraph of what happened during that day. But that's what you should do, because your children will value. You may not see your children again, but if that journal is available and someday when you die, they see the journal, they know that mother and father really cared. It is really sad out there when our families are broken apart. I hurt all the time that my missing child members. I have my firstborn that I've not seen. She's 36 years old, and I've not seen her since she's 33 years ago. And that had nothing to do with CPS. That was a very vindictive wife who said, "You'll never see your child again," and she's kept her promise. Then I had my recent daughter that was taken and stolen from me at the age of 12 when she was encouraged and coached by the social worker who was doing a retaliation because she was caught committing perjury when she was on the stand talking about a family adopting our daughter, a family that was proven to have domestic violence, physical domestic violence. And my attorney brought that out. So I am missing that daughter. She's now 23 years old. I've not seen her in 11 years. I've not held her in 11 years. And every year, it hurts me. It hurts me. It's ongoing. The crime is still being committed. I've put together a grievance, a lawsuit against not her, but against the people that stole her from me, the people that have kept her. So my case is still live. It isn't past the warning because every day a crime is being committed. She has a second social security card, which she's using to get my retirement. She's not anymore. That happened at 18, but she's 23 now. But from 12 to 18, she was using two social security cards. The first one. And I had it for my two boys and my daughter. And it was necessary extra funds when you're an older person. When you reach the age of 60, you're considered a senior. I think at 62 is when you're eligible for Medicaid. Anyway, 55 is when you're thought of as senior. I waited till I was in my 70s before I took my retirement. And I'm now 75. I'm not over the hill. I want to get myself better. I want to feel better. Talking the show has helped me. It helps me hear your story. I don't feel as bad as the rest of you. There's a sweet, and there you are, Aaron. The other night you came on late and I missed you, Aaron from Tennessee. Aaron is a special name to me. It's my firstborn's name. And they're 30 days apart. They're born in 89, and she was born on June 2nd. My Aaron was born on May 2nd. And Aaron from Tennessee has been on my show a bunch of times. And she was on the other night, and I missed her. I saw it there when I went back after my show was ended, and I saw Aaron. So, Aaron, I'm so sorry. You know, I'm so sorry. You're pregnant. Well, congratulations. But I hope social service doesn't know about it because you're not, if your case is closed, it's okay. But they'll be after your child. And Cruella, thank you for coming tonight. I get worried about you. I was talking about you earlier tonight. Cruella is one of the people that comes to my show all the time. She has a deadline of July 22nd where they want to evict her. Now, her mom has title to the home. Her brother somehow doesn't like her or has problems with her and wants her out of the mom's house. Her brother's kidnapped her mom and has them at his house. She needs help. She needs assisted living. She's in bad shape. So, and Kenny, Aaron says, "Hi, I'm just 6 hours from you in Sullivan County." That's great. We have Aaron from Tennessee and Kenny from Sullivan County in North Carolina. And it's so good to have you people in here. And I'm glad you wrote a journal. I'm glad you wrote a journal. Yes, your thank you. You know, Corella's name is Felicia. She's from Oxnard, California. She has a case in Ventura County. She has her two children that her dad won't give up. I don't know if it's her stepdad or real dad, but she can't get her two babies back. And she's been out with them since September. So that's a long time. You know, when they do take your children, they're supposed to have visitations, but a lot of times they don't. And visitations get worse. In my case, they did. It starts on a nice visitation, and then a social worker has to watch it. Then you have to go to a special room, and then you can't see your kid. It is so sad at how they torment you and how the case gets worse. And my case got worse because I was a fighter. I was writing daily emails to the director of social services, well, director of the child protection services in Orange County, California. And they didn't like me because I was pointing out all the bad things. They usually don't deal with somebody who's educated and knows to how things are supposed to be. I learned fast. I learned fast. Okay, I read your thing. It says, I wrote my kid's journal since I found out I was pregnant. No, I'm definitely not pregnant. I wrote the twins in my son's journals since I found out I was pregnant with my kids. I mean, when you were pregnant, you wrote journals to your kids. That is so loving, Aaron. That is so loving. Corilla says weekends are too slow for me. Not much to do when it's not a weekday. Well, Corilla, every day is a new day for me. My faith in God has gotten really strong. And that's another thing, another life skill. We all should believe in a God, a creator. There's all kinds of versions of religion out there. And I'm not here to tell you one religion is worse than the next. But you should believe in a God, the creator of mankind. And I did not know recently that God and Jesus were the same. It was God that came down, that was Jesus that walked the earth. And when I look at my life, I'm on a train. I don't know if you read the Polar Express, but it's a boy on the train. The life is a journey. And the left rail that the train runs on, I call the circle of life. And I want to have a big circle. Some people have small circles. But the circle of life I got from The Lion King, a Disney show, where a father talks about life to his son growing up. We all start as babies helpless, and we all end up dying in the end helpless. And that's the circle of life. But on the other side is the rail to the stairway to heaven. You need to do good deeds. You need to do good deeds to get to heaven. And connecting the two rails are strong wooden ties that represent strength. And every one of those ties is a good deed. So as you go through on this journey on the train, you need to do good deeds. So you get to heaven because that's what life is all about. It's going to heaven. So ride this journey, this train journey. Do the wide circle of life and get to stairway of heaven. Now, Corella says Tuesday is supposed to be the day that they come to vacate your home. I know. I think about it and I pray at night. I still haven't heard from my brother. Seems pretty lame to me. Well, your brother is very vindictive. Your brother has somehow, and I don't think he's your real brother. I think he's your stepbrother because you said your mother had a different father with your brother and a different father with you. I'm confused. You say you have a stepfather and a real father. You have a real mother, and I think you have a stepmother. But every time you talk, you get me confused. You get me confused. I know you're the caregiver of your biological mother, and she needs you. She needs you more than anything. And you have every right to stay in that home. You're not a tenant. You don't pay rent. The home is not unsuitable to live in. And, even though your bills are getting hard to pay, your brother's supposed to pay the bills. It's really, really sad there, Corella. It really is. I am praying that you're not kicked out of your home on Tuesday. Everybody knows who Corella Do a Trick is. That's Felicia from Oxnard, California. You've talked to my show numerous times. You have a meeting with Vincent Davis about eviction. But you need to stop the eviction. What your brother did was lame. He can't prove that, but he somehow got the. And you went ahead and took a commissioner over a judge. You did not know better. Anybody that's listening, do not use commissioners. Use judges, and make sure the judge has a background in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. My judge was awful. He knew all about car accidents and how to do lawsuits dealing with car victims, but he doesn't know about reunification or bringing a family back together. CPS lied to us. They said we want to do family reunification. Now, in the beginning of my case, I was able to get them to stay with my wife's sister and husband, and it was great for our three kids. It was hard on them because they involved going to three different schools. Taking care of my wife had to take them to all the schools. I had to take them to schools. It is a lot of hard work. But unfortunately, one of the members of our household has not been with us. Our daughter, our youngest daughter, is 23 and she wants nothing to do with her mom and dad, which is really sad. She's been poisoned by a CASA, and you got to be careful about the court appointed service provider. The court appointed service provider is really lame. They will really work your child. They'll put wrong ideas in them. They'll take advantage. We heard her the other day on a YouTube video, and there was our judge laughing in the background. It was unbelievable. This YouTube video was supposed to promote this CASA worker and how CASA is so great. They didn't. They instilled so many crazy ideas in our daughter. Our daughter was always very naive when it came to taking advice. And she was suckered by this CASA worker and by the social worker. And she was led to believe that the best way to get rid of her mom and dad was to emancipate. So she divorced her mom and dad. I'll never forget the judge asking her in court, "Are you sure you want to divorce your parents? Because this is it. Not only do you divorce your parents, you divorce your siblings, her three brothers, her sisters. She had two sisters. Um, and then she had her grandparents, two sets, four grandparents, her aunts and uncles and cousins. All of them are divorced. She has now completely changed her name. She had a beautiful middle name, Hanalei. It's the most beautiful island on there. My wife and I have been to it, and it's a beautiful place. And we gave her that name because she's beautiful. She's a very loving and caring daughter. We have pictures of her. We have memories of her. She is missed by my wife and I. And it's really sad, you know, what they've done to us as a family. What they've done to us as a family. Hold on one second here. Uh, okay. Now, what's happened to me in 2015 is still happening today. I'm still being harmed right now at the age of 75 years old. Every day you can't control your daughter is a new violation. Every day you can't control your daughter is a new violation. Every day her stolen identity remains in effect is a crime. Every day those fake documents exist is fraud. Every day you deny your rights as her father is a fresh harm. This is called continuous violations in the law, meaning the crime never stopped. It's still happening every single day. The law is on your side. Continue violation doctrine. Each day the government maintains the fraudulent identity document is a brand new crime. The statute of limitations starts over every day because it's ongoing violation, not a one-time event. The time limits don't start until you fully understand what's done to you. You're still discovering the full extent of the fraud and violations. When the government commits fraud to hide their wrongdoings, the time limits are told That means they're paused until you can discover what really happened. Your Constitution violations, your fundamental rights as a father are being violated every day. Constitution violations change, longer time limits, and continued harm exceeds those on limits. Extraordinary circumstances. The fact that CPS caused you to lose your home, our forever home, and resource created extraordinary circumstances prevent you from filing sooner. Courts recognize these barriers. Your current situation proves ongoing harm. Right now, you're 75 years old and still can't see your daughter. She's 23 and doesn't know her real family heritage. The fake birth certificate is still in effect. Not only did she change her name, she sealed her birth certificate, trying to wipe out that my wife and I were the parents of her, that born her. She was born with both parents present at her birth. She was born with love and caring. Her mom changed her diapers. Her mom took care of her. Her mom and dad were there all the time. You still deny basic parent rights. The fraudulent Social Security number still exists. She's using a secondary Social Security card. She was up until 2018. When you're 18 years old, you no longer can tax your parents' retirement. You can no longer take it. You're still denied basic parental rights. The emotional damage continues every day. This isn't ancient history. This is your life today. The harm is active and ongoing. Why this makes your case strong? Fresh violations. Every day that passes with the fake documents in place is a new federal crime of identity theft. You're not filing about something old, you're filing about crimes happening right now. Current damages. You've lost relationship with your daughter. It's ongoing. You have emotional distress happening daily. You have denial of family rights active every day. You have a fraudulent government record still in effect. Legal standing. You have perfect legal standing because you're currently being harmed. This isn't a past injury, it's present and ongoing violation of your rights. Um, okay, I'm trying to understand. Cruella is saying some things, and I got on the sidebar to talk about my daughter, but it angers me. It's hurt my wife many times over. She has the same hurts as I do, the same problem with her. She could file a grievance separately from mine to about her daughter. She could sue CPS. I can sue CPS. We both could. We both could. It's a really good lawsuit. All it takes is a lawyer to put it in. And I'm looking at doing that. I do not want to forget on that. Now, um, I want to say, um, okay, Krilla says Tuesdays. Okay, I know about that. Aaron says, I still write to them. My mom wrote me one, and it meant the world to me when I read it. I know journals are very priceless. It's never too late to write a journal. If you write a journal, it's your memories that someday another person would read. It's a beautiful thing to write a journal. So you just write a journal. You can make it to your family. Dear family, I'm writing this. I know today I've tried to write this for months and years, but I'm writing today to tell you my love about her family and how it got lost and about my life. You can write about your life in there because they do not know your life. My family does not know my life from 92 to when I was born in 1949. They only hear me. And my wife has only been with me for 32 years. And I know it's a long time to be with somebody. My parents were married 55 years. And I know her parents were married for 50 years until her dad died. I think it was. I think they were married for 50 years. I don't know. But anyway, um, okay, the CASA, Christina is correcting me. It's called the Court Appointed Special Advocate. I called it Service Advocate. It's a Special Advocate. I'm sorry, Christina. I couldn't remember what the S stood for. Thank you for helping me out. Christina is on tonight. She's from Las Vegas, Nevada. And that is really, Aaron, that's so beautiful that you write that. And when I say your name, Aaron, it brings back memories of my born. I know you're 36 years old, Aaron, and it's terrible what you've gone through with your kids. Now, Corilla says, I heard when your young adults care for their elders or any other older person, that's God, always protecting and bless them. Yes, it's the circle of life. Remember you're on that train, that journey, and you're on the left rail, the circle of life. Well, the father in the movie, The Lion King, was teaching his son about the circle of life. In the beginning, we are always so helpless, but at the end, we are helpless. And that's why you hope your children will remember that and take care of you in your later years and in your later years. And that's what you've been doing, Krilla. You've been a caregiver for your mother, and your brother's denying that. And God does bless you with good deeds. So Krilla says, me and my older brother, who has the power of attorney somehow, have the same mom. Okay, but how about the dad? I knew you guys had the same mom, but I was wondering, do you have two different dads? Do you have a different dad, or does your brother have a different dad? Different dads, that's what I thought. So that is hard. That is so hard. And so it's really hard, but now I understand. Now, Aaron said my judge of my twins was charged with forgery and bribery counts as well, and one count of criminal simulation. And Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct suspended him after my TPR, my termination of your parental rights. I did not know, Aaron, that you had your parental rights terminated, and that judge was suspended. Oh, that is so horrible. Corilla says, however, my dad, upon getting together with my mom, took it upon himself to be my brother's stand in dad. So it was the second father, okay, the one, and it's the dad that has your babies, which is commendable. However, it would be more admirable if he can maintain the consistency and parent his own kids. That would be splendid. Apparently, your dad had other kids. Hello, Carrie Simpson from Georgia. I'm so glad you came on tonight. Hey, Bob, I miss my kids. I really need a good lawyer. I have the feeling if I go to court next month, not knowing what's going on, I'm going to lose my kids forever. I've been on here asking for help. I know you have, Carrie. You've called me. And hopefully you'll talk to Vincent Davis before your court hearing. I know you can't afford an attorney, but you need help. And I want to help you all I can. If you tell me what your case is about, I'll give you strategic plans of how to fight your case. I want to help you, Carrie. I care about you. Carrie Sampson's from Georgia, and she's a loving mom, and it's really hard for her. Aaron, if he's the oldest child, I know in Kentucky with no, uh, in Tennessee with no will, the oldest child is automatically a power of attorney. Um, I don't know if he got the power of attorney because he's the oldest child. I just know the power of attorney cannot evict his sister from his mother's home. Being a power of attorney gives him no right to eviction. Now, he may have the power to decide on legal matters for your mother, but I really would question that. I really would question that. So, I know, Krilla, you're fighting your brother that has the power of attorney. Now, Carrie Simpson says CPS has been doing me so wrong. I know they have. I know they have. You've been talking to me on my show, and you are going to talk to Vincent Davis. I don't know when your time is scheduled, but you will be talking to him. Now, I'm at the 54-minute mark of my time of running the live stream. My clock says 8:05, so I started late tonight. I think I started about 10 minutes late, and I apologize. I try to run this very punctual. But I do know I have to adhere to the time clock. I'm supposed to start at 7 o'clock and be done by 8. But if someone needs me before I sign off, please ask. Otherwise, I'm going to have to close down the show because my time is up. I have to close because my time's up. That does not mean that you can't go back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time and call me. If you're on the East Coast, it's 11 o'clock in the morning your time. If you're over in England, it's 8 hours from my time. If you're in Europe, it's 9 hours. And even in South Africa, it's 9 hours. So I really care and want to help you. That's true. The house is not in his name. He's on the loan. He's supposed to be taking care of the financial ends of things. But he cannot evict you, Cruella. He cannot evict you. He may have fooled, and he's working with a commissioner that doesn't know. See, judges and commissioners are supposed to be referees. And you never want to use a commissioner because the judges are busy and they bring a commissioner. It's a wannabe judge. Commissioners are someday want to be a judge. So they volunteer. All the commissioner is an attorney. And that attorney may know nothing about child protection system. He may know nothing about dependency law, family law, or juvenile law. And I agree with you, Aaron. But Cruella thinks that she's done. I found a web page and an attorney that would help you, Cruella, in Oxnard. It was 2 days ago I found it, or 3 days ago. And I was reading to you, and I was talking to them on chat. It was a chat bot. And they wanted to help you. Their only fee up front was $5, and it's refundable $5, meaning that you could use it towards your attorney fees or whatever. And if you didn't like what they provided, you get your $5 back. But they could help you with eviction. It was King. It was an old Judge King. He's a lawyer. He has a law firm in Oxnard. He wanted to help you, Felicia. Again, the ball's in your court, Felicia. The ball's in your court. I'll help you, but I cannot. It's like a horse. You can show the horse water, but you can't force the horse to drink the water in the trough. That's an old Indian proverb. Just like you never should judge somebody until you walk in their moccasins. Another Indian proverb. You should never walk or judge somebody unless you walked in their moccasins. Because you don't know what people are going through. Every one of you has a life. Every one of you, has a road to go on. All of you are on journeys. Some of you don't know what kind of journey you want. I made it simple. I call it the journey, of journey of life. And the mead, a journey of life, is I'm trying to equate something that everybody knows. Everybody's ridden a train or seen how a train works. And a train is pulling, and you're traveling someplace. And the right rail, think of it as the stairway to heaven. The left rail is the circle of life. And they're connected by hard wooden timbers, which are deeds. You need to do deeds to get to heaven. You need to do deeds to get to heaven. I agree, Aaron, but Felicia has not. See, Felicia doesn't have an attorney, and she's allowed a commissioner to take her case, which should be by a judge. And for eviction, attorneys aren't that expensive, but she doesn't even have $500. She doesn't even have $5 for legal advice. And I'd give you the money, the $5, Felicia, for legal advice. I'll pay with my credit card if that would help you, Felicia. But you got Monday, and that is it. Tuesday at 12:01 in the morning, the sheriff will be there to escort you out of your home because he has a court order. His job is to enforce the court order. So you have Monday to get a stop to the eviction, and you have to get a motion filed with the court to do so on Monday. You need a court order to stop them. You need a court order. So, all of you that are in this room, I want you to pray. I want you to pray. And I want to thank for the thumbs up from Christina Reynoso. I do have to leave because I've gone well over my time. I've talked now 60 minutes. I've given you an hour of all kinds of advice. I'm again on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, please do not give up. Felicia, don't give up. And please, please save your child. Don't give up on your child. Don't give up on your family. With that being said, God bless you. I'll say a lot of prayers tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow. There's an important message from my attorney, Vincent Davis. Please listen. This is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce him. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last